We're back with a new reaction video, this time to Billie Eilish's new What Was I Made For?
I used to float, now I just fall down. I used to know, but I'm not sure now what I was made for. What was I made for? Taking a drive, I was an ideal, looked so alive. Turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for. What was I made for? 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try.
Thoughts on the first verse?
There are a couple things that I want to just point out here. One is her vocal style here, and I don't listen to a lot of Billie Eilish, so I don't know if she does this very much, but this is perhaps one of the breathiest songs I've ever heard, which gives it character.
The first thing I saw is when I saw her with this hair that she has right now. This is not like a normal hairstyle for her. This isn't the yellow Barbie-esque dress all the way up to the neck. That is not like Billie Eilish's normal style. You'll normally see her in more hoodies or kind of more punk aesthetic. Not all the way punk. I hope you get what I'm going at. But
You're going to get tons of, she is not a punk.
I know that, but it's more punk than Barbie, is what
More
I'm getting
casual,
at.
yeah.
Yes,
This
casual
is a very artificial form, right?
Yeah.
And that's what she's going for here, like an artificial form, like Barbie, right?
Yeah, and she's trying to portray Barbie. Barbie was on the front of the box, and she starts pulling out all the clothes that are like perfectly set up outfits and ready to go. And all right, I am now here set up perfectly to please you. But who am I on the inside now?
Who am I?
Sorry. I like how she's driven into this aesthetic to try to really portray the message she's trying to send in a way that is something that many people can associate with, but most particularly you're going to see a lot of young women associating with this who have played with Barbies and played dress up and stuff, right?
Well, and it also relates to like Instagram too. It's not just like entertainment creators, but like social media, like people start with building up their social media, like their Instagram or their Facebook, to just look like they're doing so well, like they're so pretty, like they're so successful, like they're so happy. And then there's this disconnect between what is on the screen and what's happening in real life. And then this dissonance, this confusion as to like, which one is me? Am I broken for not being the me on the screen? Am I the me on the screen? Like, am I just trying to push something else and then trying to change the real life to match the picture and losing yourself in the process? And I think it works on a number of levels.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a quote that goes around kind of the YouTube sphere that is, the longer you, I guess not just YouTube, but entertainment in general, the longer you try to please an audience, the more you become a caricature of yourself. And I think that's kind of what she's diving into, is this concept of becoming a caricature of herself in trying to please people by giving her herself.
And I'll just tell you from our perspective, it's very real.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that Chase and I think about all of the time. Like, how do we be authentic? And then people are like, oh, I like when you do this. I don't like when you do this. And it's like, oh, do we want to like lean into that? Or do we want to just try to be ourselves and then trying to express that so that it comes off?
You become a caricature just in trying to be more expressive with it. You know?
Right, yeah, exactly. So like sometimes, like what might seem like enough emotion in a conversation doesn't really translate across the screen. And sometimes we have to be like, like a lot of emotion to this, just so you can see what we're actually feeling. Because sometimes if we just show our normal emotion, it just looks dull.
Yeah.
Even though we might be feeling something quite powerful. So it's interesting how that plays in a cyclical manner, just kind of like reiterating you little at a time until you get to this point where you're like, well, who am I anymore?
Yeah, yeah.
This is kind of real for me.
I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. Someday I When did it end? All the enjoyment. I'm sad again. Don't tell my boyfriend it's not what he's made for. What was I made for?
So that line right there, at first when they said it, I was like, oh, that's kind of a strange way to rhyme in there. Until when she said, like, don't tell my boyfriend. At first I was like, did they just try to shoehorn that in? But then when she said, that's not what he's made for, it just like takes this song down the next level to now this image, this pseudo self is now being interplayed into your relationships. Now it's like, well, do people in my real life like me because of this pseudo self, or do they like me for what I am? Can I even share that I have my doubts, that I have my emotions, my sadness, my feelings? Or can these people even handle that? Because that's really not why they're here. Like, they're not here to deal with me as a human. They're here to get to have me as the artist. And that's I was a little shocked by, like, in my head feeling like, oh, that's kind of a shallow line too. Like, that was a very, very deep line. Super straightforward. I was a little shocked. I'm a little still shocked by where that took me. So, but that's what I have.
'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try. I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. Someday I think I forgot how to be happy. Something I'm not, but something I can be. Something I wait for. Something I'm made for. Something I'm made for.
I was really touched by this song a lot more than I thought I was going to be. I don't really listen to Billie Eilish. I've heard a few songs, but I'm actually really surprised, both with the music video, the lyrics, and everything, how this made me feel. And I want to break down that a little bit here. So she's opening up this chest, and it's got inside these clothes. And presumably this is the fantasy of her original self. That she's imagining being herself, right? As her fake self is imagining being her real self, and doing that through essentially toys. And then the storms blow and the rain comes and the wind blows and everything, and it pushes against that. It's like, no, don't explore that. Don't do that. Stay this thing. People will pay you. People will love you. Just stay this thing that you are, but she's saying, like, what am I made for? Like, what's the real me? What's the me inside this show? And at the very end, she gets up from the table and she stalks off in like a pseudo confident way. It's almost like well, fine, I'll deal with that later. I have to go put on a show now. I have to go wear my face. And I think that, and I'm really loving this trend of music that explores this side of things, becoming more and more mainstream, because this is something that really affects so many people, especially, like I said, with social media. We start to lose and doubt ourselves and put on these faces, and then we get lost when we look in the mirror because we don't know if the face we're seeing is the right one. And maybe there isn't a right one. Maybe it's more of a creative process, but we can often feel lost. And I like that this really explores that. And it doesn't give you an answer. It doesn't give you this is the way to solve your problem. It just says, hey, look, I'm in this position, and I feel that too. And the way that she demonstrates that, top marks.
Yeah, that was poignant. I really liked so many elements of it, but I think a couple of things that struck me really well were her resolve to keep creating the fantasy as the winds and the rain and the earthquakes were shaking that from her, and her resolve to keep building it. And I feel like her resolve to keep building it is part of the confusion, to the point that she's going through so much, building this image, and then someone shakes it, and you stop it, I'm trying to build this image, and she puts it back together, and she gets frustrated, and she looks around, and flustered, and picks up what she can, and puts the pieces back together, and okay, I finally got this back together, and something blows it all apart again, and the whole time, as she's doing it, she starts to get this, why am I even doing this anymore? What was the point to begin with? Who am I? Who do I want to be? Was there a point to this? And you can see her get so lost. And then, like you said, she's during the last verse, we said, try to be happy. Something I'm not, but something I can be. And as she's thinking about that, she's taking and putting the pieces of the fantasy away, where she's trying to build something of herself, and she has to just put them away, put on her face, and go about what she needs to do anyway. Puts on this pseudo-confidence, like you said.
Yeah.
And the whole time, there's so much confusion in it. As soon as the first wind hits, she's confused. I think Billie Eilish in particular probably experiences a lot of this, just like a lot of people who hit levels of fame like she did at such a young age. I mean, she was like 16 or 17, I believe, when her first real hit came out, and now she's like, now what? Can you imagine when you're still in your formative years trying to put together who you are, ending up famous to that degree, and now going, okay, now I've got an image that everyone has of me. I'm going to put this together. I'm going to put on my face. I'm going to go about my business. I'm not happy. I don't know how to deal with it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And now that as she's maturing, she's sitting here going, okay, I need to stop for a second. I need to think. And I'm sure for her, a lot of the thinking process is in music, is in creating, is in singing. And that's how we end up with a song like this that strikes at so much emotion, where she goes, okay, I need to think, and the most clear way I know how to do that is through music, so I'm going to do that right now. Okay. It's beautiful. I love that there's no answer. And I don't want to go off and say there is an answer. I don't want to give an answer even if I think there's one, because I think the way that it was left off without an answer was so beautiful that I want to preserve that and let everyone come to their own conclusions as you put yourself together, as you create an image of yourself that you look at in the mirror, or as you create an image of yourself that other people will look at on social media or on YouTube or on TV or wherever people are experiencing you through the curated version of yourself that you've created for them to see. As you create that, you get to decide what the right answer is, what you were made for. And Billie Eilish did a wonderful job proposing that question without an answer in a way that we can all think back and look at and go, what is my end goal?
Yeah.
what am I made for? And how do I accomplish that? And kind of reprioritize. This is a good opportunity to reprioritize, I think.
Yeah. Excellent song. Excellent song. If you guys like this reaction, we appreciate subscriptions whenever you're down to push the button. And I also recommend you check out our reaction that we did to Ren's song, Hi Ren. It touches on some very similar themes and really gets deeper into that human condition. So we'll see you guys over there, and have a great day.